Destiny just dropped a new update, and with this new update, we got a brand new pool of refreshed weapons in the Prophecy Dungeon. And to celebrate this new pool of weapons, I decided I'd show you guys how to solo flawless the dungeon easily on Titan. My Warlock and Hunter guides will be out in the following weeks, which will then be followed by my Grasp of Avarice guides, so make sure to stick around for those. Just before we get into the guide, if you ever need any help or are looking for more information, feel free to stop by my streams or join my Discord. My Discord has a ton of dim links for all the dungeons I've recorded so far, just in case you want those. Just remember that I might be in the middle of something, so I just ask that you give me some time to respond to you. Alright, let's get into the guide. Starting off with what subclass you want to run. Solar is by far the best option for most dungeons, and the same applies here. This dungeon is completely power crept though, so if you want to run something else, feel free. Just remember that you need to figure out how to keep yourself alive and do damage at the same time, and no other subclass does it as well as Solar does right now. With Solar, we're going to be rocking Pyrogale Gauntlets and Dragon's Breath for the first boss. Swap to any add clear loadout you like for the second encounter, and run Hammer of Soul with Leviathan's Breath for the final encounter. For the first encounter, we're going to be rocking Pyrogale Gauntlets, Dragon's Breath, Scatter Signal, or whatever good fusion rifle you have, and whatever Solar primer you want. I personally use Synthoceps and swap the Pyrogale for damage, but you don't need Synthoceps. It's just to make killing the knights easier, and I know swapping items mid-run might be an issue for some people, so run whatever you think is easiest for you. Dragon's Breath mixed with Pyrogale Gauntlets and Scatter Signal should easily be able to one-phase this boss. Then for our Solar weapon, feel free to run whatever you like the most. The Solar weapon is going to be used alongside Siphon mods to make sure we constantly have armor charges, and our weapon will also keep refreshing our Radiant and Restoration buffs with a certain fragment which I'll talk about later. Besides all of that, just make sure you keep your Restoration up and Roaring Flames and you should be fine. For the second encounter, I decided to run the same loadout as the first encounter, but I swap my Dragon's Breath to something more ad clear friendly. The weapon I ended up using was the Corrective Measure LMG from Vogue, although any LMG should work just fine. I also ran Synthoceps in this encounter since I didn't think I needed Lorenly, but if you want to play it safe, run Lorenly for the extra safety net. The rest of this encounter is very straightforward. Just remember to keep some ammo in your Scatter Signal or whatever to kill the two mini bosses at the end. And then for the final boss, we're going to swap the Hammer of Soul instead of Burning Maul since the boss plays pretty far away. I also ran Synthoceps again to make easy work of the Ogres and Knights, but you could also run Lorenly here as well if you're still having problems surviving. We're also going to swap to Leviathan's Breath since, again, the boss is playing farther back. Remember to swap your Surge mods to Void and put on a Void Loader mod to make sure you get the most out of your Leviathan's Breath damage. Alright, now that I gave a quick overview of what we're going to run, I'm going to show you my exact loadouts that I ran for each encounter. Then I'll show you my phase examples so you can see exactly how I beat this dungeon. Alright, so to start off with our loadout, go over the Solar subclass. You're going to be running Burning Maul for the first boss, whatever you want for the second one, because it's just an encounter, doesn't matter. And then Hammer of Soul for the final boss. So just keep that in mind. My loadouts will reflect that, so my first boss will have Burning Maul on it, and then my Leviathan's Breath one will have Hammer of Soul. So just keep that in mind for the future. If you don't want to worry about it and swap it yourself, then you can just copy my loadouts. Abilities, Barricade is up to you. I just like the extra cover behind towering, but the benefits from Rally is pretty nice. Whatever jump you want, I like Strafe. Bonk Hammer, because this is an infinite melee, it does a good amount of damage, especially with Synthoceps. And when you pick it up, you get Cure, which actually does a lot more than you'd think. So, very, very nice. Healing Grenade is going to be our Panic, like keep us alive sort of scenario, so make sure you have this on. You could also run something like Fusions or Solar if you just want to do more damage. But honestly, this dungeon is so fucking power crept. Like, you're going to one phase the first boss, guaranteed. And then the final boss, you can one phase if you do it right. So, just keep it up to you. It's just up to you, whatever you want. I'm going to recommend Healing Grenade, though. And then for our aspects, put on Roaring Flames and Soul Invictus. Roaring Flames will help us do more damage with our Solar abilities. Just make sure... it helps us do more damage with our Super as well. This counts as a Solar ability. Just make sure that you proc it to level 3 before you start damage. And then Soul Invictus will help us keep our Restoration up constantly whenever we defeat an enemy with our abilities. Or defeating just scorched targets in general. You'll spawn a Sunspot, you can walk through, give you Restoration. Which I think the Restoration starts at like 8 seconds. So I don't remember, but... very, very good. And then Consecration's useless, so don't worry about that. For our fragments, Ember of Torches, powered melee attacks will give us Radiant, very, very useful. Ember of Ashes will apply more scorch attacks to targets, aka you're getting ignitions faster. Ember of Solace will increase the base duration for Radiant Restoration. This means whenever you start Radiant or Restoration, instead of it being at 3 seconds, it'll be at 6 instead. This gives you a little more leeway for actually being able to keep the buff up with our next fragment, Ember of Empyrean. Solar weapon or ability final blows will increase the duration of Restoration and Radiant. So what this means is when you get a Solar kill, you're going to bump it up a couple seconds over and over again. This will allow us to keep it up the whole time without us having to repack it. So very, 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 very useful. I'll go over the guns in a second. But the mods are the same for the whole time, except for the solar surges will be swapped out, and this dexterity mod will be swapped out for a void loader and void damage. So the rest of this is pretty much the same, though. So if you want to copy that, you can. But we'll go into detail real quick. Heavy ammo finders, I just like them. It's just preference. You don't need them for this dungeon, though, really. Maybe for a second encounter if you only use an LMG. Up to you, though. But really throw whatever you want in here. Just make sure you have Harmonic Siphon on, because Harmonic Siphon mixed with Heavy-Handed is going to be how we're going to be generating all of our Orbs of Power. Heavy-Handed's cooldown is a lot higher than the Harmonic Siphons, or the Solar Siphon, or whatever you're going to use. Because, sorry, I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyways, make sure you have both of those on. You want to have Orbs of Power for armor charges. The Siphon mod is you're going to get a lot of them from that. So make sure you're getting rapid kills back to back with that. And then Heavy-Handed, it'll be nice when you're getting hammer kills. You'll get an orb every now and then as well. So very nice. I'm running Harmonic Dexterity, which means solar, because we're using a solar subclass, just because I like being able to pull my Dragon's Breath out faster. It does increase DPS. You're going to be able to pull your gun out faster, or not shoot it faster. You're going to be able to pull it out faster and put it away faster. And if you're running something like Cartesian Coordinate, you'll be able to do it for that as well, or the Eremite. So it's very, very useful. You could run something else. I just like the Dexterity mods. Focusing Strike will give us class ability. This one isn't really needed. Once again, you can swap this one out. So it gives our shield back fast when we're doing powered melee attacks. So onto our chest. Concussive Dampener is what I'm running for the whole thing, just because there's a good amount of splash damage. You got Minotaurs or Knights or whatever they're called. And then the bosses, I think, do splash damage as well. For the first one, you could do melee. You are pretty close to the boss, but remember, Dragon's Breath, you're going to blow yourself up, so you don't really need it either. I know they do solar damage, so make sure you have Harmonic on. And then and the Hobgoblins do Void, so just watch out for those. You can swap these in and out for each encounter as you please, but this is what I just recommend in general. Oh, and then make sure you have a chestplate that has reserves on the side. And I'll explain that in a second. For our legs, just whatever weapon, just stack surges, and then maybe one scavenger mod if you're lazy and you don't want to swap legs, which, honestly, not even lazy, it's just you don't want to risk dying. Just swap this in and out for Leviathan's Breath or Dragon's Breath. Solar for the first, solar for Dragon's Breath, and then Void for Leviathan's Breath. And then I'm running 2-time dilation mods because I want to have 18 seconds for each individual armor charge. It's a lot, but at the same time, it's also not a lot when you're actually doing stuff. You're not realizing how fast it's actually going down. If you want special ammo finisher, that's pretty good too. Or if your abilities are having a hard time coming back, then you could put one of these on. But remember, mixing the yellow and the blue mods, it's kind of iffy because the blue ones are on a timer and these are on charges, like actual charge uses. So they'll just consume them instantly, while this will consume them over time. So if you don't time it right, or you're not constantly thinking about it, then these will just end up conflicting with each other. So besides all of that, the reserves, what I was just going to talk about was, I just like having a chestplate to rally with beforehand. So I'll swap to this, rally, swap back. That's it. And then for my Pyrogales, I just have the similar mods on for it. I have 2 heavy-handed mods on, just because usually before I go to damage, I'll have my abilities and everything ready already. So I put on 2 heavy-handed mods just so then I can back-to-back make orbs faster. So that's it. And then for our weapons, first boss, Dragon's Breath, Scatter Signal. Dragon's Breath is pretty self-explanatory. You're just going to stick the boss. It's going to do a bunch of damage. You have Pyrogale, you're going to do a lot of damage. For the second encounter, I'm running Corrective Measure. This is the Time Loss version, which is the Master Dungeon, or Master Raid version. You don't need it. Any Void, or not even Void, any machine gun works fine. I just love this roll. I love Demolition Firefly. I think there's a better roll for this, but I love this gun. This is my day 1 ad clear loadout. Every single time I use this thing, I love it. But you don't need damage for your second encounter, so I'm just running straight up ad clear, and machine guns do that great. And then for the final encounter, Leviathan's Breath. Very, very straightforward. You don't need the catalyst. It's very useful though. You will definitely get more damage out of it. And when you have the catalyst, you don't need to even swap to reserves because you permanently have the 3 stack of reserves on it. So I don't think I missed anything. If I did, as always, I will leave in the comments, description, something like that. You'll know. Probably in Discord as well. If you notice I made any mistakes, let me know as well. We're going to go into the phase examples now, which I'm just about to explain. And then after that, that's it. So feel free to join the Discord, pop by the streams, let me know if you need any help. And I will see you guys in a second. All right, so we are on the first encounter. I'm right here, I'm swapping to reserves. So then I can get 12 shots in my rocket, and then swapping back to my normal chest plate. This loadout I'm using is a little different than the dim loadout that I'm going to recommend. The dim loadout is just more optimized. You're going to get more use out of it. So I think the only thing that's really different is the melee resistance, but whatever. So to start off, I'm going to start grabbing all of my motes, my nodes, whatever you want to call them. Remember, you have to dunk 4. There is a little bug that you can do. Not even a bug, it's just like a trick. Where you can actually, you can get both of them at once. So what you do is you start off on the higher one, and then you jump out towards the middle. So if it's like an X between these right now, don't worry about the white ones, but the black ones, there's like a line in between them. So you want to try to jump right in the middle, and then as you're falling, you're going to pop it. It might hit both of them, and if it does, then you just skip the entire one. If not, you got to do it again. Not a big deal. Don't sweat it if you don't know how to do it. If you want to practice it, then you can try it out. So, but regardless, it's a very fast encounter, and you're going to probably one-face this. Just because this dungeon is super outdated, and I mean, it was never terribly hard to begin with, compared to something like Warlord's Ruin or Ghost of the Deep nowadays, so it was a pretty straightforward dungeon. I actually think I get it with the light one here, but we'll see. So I'm just walking around, getting my Roaring Flames up all the time, still at ×3 at the bottom, and you have ×3 for like 19 seconds or 20 seconds, so you need to get 1 melee kill every 18 seconds, we'll say. So, just before I ever dunk the last one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to swap to Pyrogale. If you don't want to risk dying here and you're not going to ad clear, you're not clearing all the ads, then just swap, just don't even run Synthos Steps and just swap the Pyrogale immediately, like before the encounter starts. So, I'm going to sit up here and swap real quick. I'm on PC, so I have a mouse and keyboard. It's pretty fast for me to do it. Start with Dragon Drift, I'll stick them. Pyrogale immediately. Swap the scatter signal. Sorry, I swapped my rocket because I heard the auto reload. And then swap the scatter signal. Shoot 3 to 4 times. Hear the chink. Shoot again. I shot to the ground right there because I didn't want to stick myself in accident if I get booped. And this boss is so easy to kill that I didn't, like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, trust me. So, first encounter, very simple. On the second encounter, this is just after I rallied. I forgot to press record, my bad. The only thing I swapped here was I'm running Corrective Measure instead, just because I love its ad clear. And I didn't want to run a rocket launcher, so this is just my preference for the LMG I like to use. But you can use whatever you want. I don't know if I'll show you the whole thing. I'll probably show you a couple, because it's so repetitive. It's just kill the knights, dunk where Toland, I think is it? I think that's Toland. Or it might just be some random little wisp, I don't remember. But it's the same thing over and over again. Make sure you're watching out for the hobgoblins, so they do a lot of damage, and they will kill you while you're going up into the teleport. They disappear just before you actually teleport, but they will and can kill you. Sorry, it's yawning. But yeah, kill the ads. Keep your Roaring Flames up if you want. You'll be able to one-hit the knights with it, and then just make sure you're killing the hobgoblins. That's about it. I think you do this 6 times, because remember you have to fill up. It's like each side of the square, I think, or it's 5 or some number. I don't remember. I'm not thinking right now. Anyways, once you do enough times, you'll get teleported to the final boss. And the final boss arena is always the same. So I'll show this one, and then I'm going to skip to the end where you can kill the guys. So there we go. Here. So it's going to spawn these 2 big Centurion guys. You can just kill them real quick. And that's it. It's super, super simple. I don't think I need to show you the rest of this, so I'm just going to skip to the next part. Kill the final boss. Swapping to Leviathan's Breath here. So make sure you have that on. You don't need Pyrogales anymore. I tried using Pyrogale immediately when you drop down to the DPS phase. It didn't feel very good, and you get teleported almost immediately. So unless you got like a finicky way of doing it, I don't think you're going to get more damage than just using Hammer of Soul anyways, with Roaring Flames ×3 at least. Maybe I messed something up. Means I would think Pyrogale does more damage anyways, but whatever. You don't even need Synthos Steps. You can run Laurenly. You can run Laurenly. I don't know what other exotic you'd run. The only like good solar exotics are like was Heart of Inmost Light, Laurenly when it was OP as fuck. It's still pretty good now. In like Synthoceps, in Power Gale now. So same encounter. It's basically the same thing as the last one as well. You're just gonna be dunking in 3 different spots this time. Remember that every time you dunk one, the copy of the Calico is gonna spawn an ogre, and the ogres are a pain in the ass. And it might show in this run. I don't remember one of the runs I got flung across the room and almost died. So just make sure you're killing the ogres. And then some of the arenas have like weird spots where it's dark, but it doesn't count as dark unless you sit in there for a hot second or like put yourself in a specific spot. So just make sure that the edges of your screen are the color that you want the most to be. So there's not much more I can explain here. Make sure that you don't let the scions replicate too much or else you're just gonna get fucked, because the ogres are gonna push you around. It's gonna make it harder for you to scions. And when the scions duplicate too much, just like Warlord's Ruin, you can die very, very fast. Definitely don't sleep on them. Definitely don't sleep on them. I think this is the last one you need to do. And then a big tip. Oh, never mind. I had the wrong color. So one big tip is right before damage starts, you can take your time. I think almost as much time as you want. Ads will just keep infinitely spawning. When you dunk all 3 of them, you can just sit around, wait for ads to spawn in. You can get your super back. You can get your heavy up. You can get your armor charges up. Your roaring flames up. So right now I'm at roaring flames 3. But I think I had no armor charges. Yeah, so I just got one there. So I'm like, I don't want to go down yet. I'm gonna pick up some orbs real quick. And then my roaring flames is kind of low here. I don't go down yet. So I've done this a couple times. I don't remember my runs by heart. My armor charges will be fine, but my roaring flames, I want to get them up. Pretty sure I missed my hammer here. Yep. I missed my hammer here. I'm like, alright, I'm just getting my roaring flames up real quick. I'll stack them all. Get it ×3. Pick up my last armor charge. Boom. And I'm going to go in. So now I have max armor charges and max roaring flames, max timers. This should be a perfect run. So to utilize this season's mods called Revitalizing Blast, solar abilities will apply a 15% weaken. Very, very useful. Solar abilities kind of just super. I'm going to pop my Heimer Soul immediately. Sit in the sunspot. Start flinging them at him. And then I'm just going to start Leviathan breathing him, whatever. Make sure you watch out for the teleports. I'm on a computer, so I'm a lot more mobile than somebody on a controller. So I'm going to be jumping around a good bit here. I'm also going to be using my hammer on the Hobgoblin so that I can keep my Radiant up. Now, you could keep your Radiant up by just, killing them with your Solar SMG, right? But while I'm doing this, I'm getting the max Radiant up to 15. And I'm also getting, I'm getting my Curon pickup. And there was something else. Armor charges. That's what it was, sorry. I have heavy-handed on still, right? So I'm going to get an extra armor charge every now and then, which means I'm going to be able to have Leviathan's Breath for the whole time. You also don't need to aim down sights with Leviathan's Breath because it's pretty damn accurate when it's fully cocked back. So don't worry about holding your aim down sights and being pinpoint. His head is fucking huge. Although every time he throws one of those blasts, he ducks. So just keep that in mind. And then just make sure you don't die to the Hobgoblins. He spawns 2 every teleport. And then I like to just jump to the final platform and just melt him. He also doesn't do very much damage, and you also have that Hobgoblin to proc your restoration again with your hammer or something, so. Teleports me here, I lose a little bit of damage, but whatever. Way over a fucking 2-phase. You should definitely be able to 2-phase this guy. Even if you miss a good amount of your shots, you should be able to 2-phase him. And on top of that, you could definitely 1-phase him as well, if you're just good, so. I didn't really want to waste my time perfecting a solo 1-phase loadout because I just don't care. It doesn't bother me. And if I can get this good of results my first try, then you guys can probably do the same. It's not a contest to beat it in 1-phase right now. Anyways, it's outdated. It doesn't matter. So that's it. Very, very easy dungeon, especially nowadays with how much we have and how easy it is to stay alive now in every class. So ease of use, if you don't like some of the things I did here, you could honestly just run Laurenly the entire dungeon. Like, you should still be able to 3-4 phase max the bosses. Dragon's Breath might be a little risky. If you want to run something else, you could run Apex, sit farther back. But like at the same time, that's just like Dragon's Breath with, you know, a little less extra steps. So whatever. But that's it. If you need any help, feel free to stop by the streams, which have been lacking lately. Sorry, I'm just lazy. And then hop in the Discord. You can DM me, shoot me a text, whatever. If I forgot anything, I'll send it in the comments, send it in Discord, send it in the description, whatever. You can also let me know if I forgot anything. That would help because I don't always watch back all of my videos, so there might be something. Because some of these videos are like 40 minutes long, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not really trying to sit here and just watch 40 minutes of me talking because I like cringe to myself, but whatever. I watch the important parts, don't worry. Anyways, that's it. I'm gonna stop yapping now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching the video. If anything helped, please let me know by leaving a like, comment, or subscribe. Remember that I have 2 other classes coming out for Prophecy in the next week or 2. Also, before the final shape comes out, I should have all the dungeon guides out for all classes, which means you should be able to conquer any and all dungeons on whatever character you please. I also make Tarkov content, even though I haven't posted any recently, since the game hasn't been super interesting at the moment. I also might switch over to making other content soon, so let me know if anything sounds cool. There's a members program if you want to join that as well. It's just for supporting the channel, and you don't get any sort of real benefits. You'll get some badges for the live streams, a cool Discord role, and maybe early access to videos if I decide to post them early enough. Just remember this is a subscription-based model, so please cancel whenever you're done. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully, I'll see you around.